hello, everyone, and welcome to Aromatic Chat, the podcast that introduces you to registered clinical and certified aromatherapists from around the world. Every other week, my super awesome, way smarter than me baby sister sits down with a different aromatherapist to learn about their aromatic journey and how they use essential oils in their lives and businesses. Aromatic Chat is produced by Lemon Balm Coaching, and my sister Melissa is your host. She is a master transformational coach and a registered aromatherapist. Once again, everyone, welcome and enjoy the show.
Hello, friends. Welcome to 2025. And thanks for joining me for this special episode of Aromatic Chat with guest host, my big sister, Dawn Dorsey. Dawn has been an enormous support for me over the last 4 years of the Aromatic Chat podcast. She is not an aromatherapist, but she was a faithful listener and always quick to share feedback that lifted my spirits. She is an incredible human, and she's overcome major obstacles in her life. She's one of the most grateful people I know, sharing gratitude every single day on social media and quick to offer praise to God for the gifts that she has in her life. She's been my cheerleader. She's also been a client, and she's been my best friend since we both entered into adulthood. And I am truly honored to be interviewed by her for this show. So let's get started.
Melissa, thank you for inviting me to interview you for this podcast. I am super honored and super excited. So I've got a few questions here, and forgive me for looking down, but I'm old fashioned and just printed them on paper. And so my first question is, what is next for your podcast?
Okay, that's a great place to start because things are changing. Every year at the end of the year, I kind of wonder, should I keep going? Should I keep going? Because when I started the podcast, it really was for me. I started in the middle of the pandemic, and I'm an extrovert and I needed to talk to people. I needed people. So I thought, well, I'm just going to reach out to my aromatherapy friends because that was my community at the time. It was all filled with aromatherapy people. And I thought, well, I'm just going to talk with my aromatherapy friends. And then I started thinking, well, maybe other people would like to hear these conversations. And that's how the podcast was born. And at the end of every year, I think to myself, should I keep going? Is there enough interest? And I ask myself these questions. And this year, the answer was, it's time to shift. So we're going to be rebranding and releasing something new coming up in the middle of January.
Okay, good. Why do you enjoy your podcasting so much?
Oh my gosh. I have always enjoyed public speaking, whether it was from the stage or on the radio. And when I was younger, when I was in high school, I was on, for confession time, I was on a television show called Dance Party USA. And as one of the regulars, one of the celebrities from the show, we had opportunities given to us. And one of the opportunities I had was to interview Jody Watley on the radio station. And if anybody is from the 80s, you remember Jody Watley. I was given a really obscure question to ask her, but I asked it in such a way that I segued beautifully and articulated the question well. And she was even surprised. So here's this star that was like, wow, that's a great question. And I was told at that time by the producers of the show, by other people, that I should, as part of my life, do something like radio broadcasting. Well, I didn't want to go to college for anything like that. And, that's something that's required for you to be able to do something like that. And then podcasting, of course, became a thing in the 2000s. It was, when did podcasting become a thing?
It's actually fairly new, like maybe 10 years.
Yeah. So it's only been 10 years. But I was like, well, that's something I could do. I could totally start interviewing people, talking, sharing, connecting. And I believe connection is like one of the things we were designed for. So a podcast is an opportunity to do all of those things that I'm actually really good at and that I like, because sometimes you can be really good at something, but not enjoy doing that thing. But I actually enjoy doing this thing that I'm good at. So that's why I like podcasting. It's a really great opportunity to connect with people where they are in a not intrusive way, right? You can listen or not.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
Well, and the opportunity to subscribe
Mhm.
gives you that choice. So yeah, wow, that's great. That's great. You already kind of answered my next question, but Aromatic Chat has been going strong for 4 years. Why did you start that particular podcast aside from, gee, I thought maybe, people would want to hear our conversations?
Well, one of the things that I feel is, like I said, very important for me, one of the things I believe we were designed for is connection. And the mission of Aromatic Chat was to connect people with aromatherapists. So if you were looking for an aromatherapist, you could scan through my podcasts and go, oh, I really like that person. I'm going to reach out to them, instead of just, like we used to thumb through the yellow pages
Yeah.
or whatever. This was an opportunity for people to hear their stories, to meet them, to listen to them. And I feel like our stories matter. I feel like our stories are the reason that we do the things that we do, good and bad, right? But this was a great opportunity for people to hear from aromatherapists worldwide, not just the person that's local
Yeah.
to them.
I
And
enjoyed that. I
yeah,
enjoyed hearing people that you were talking to in New Zealand and England, and yeah, and I actually ordered some oils from a distiller, I think, that you interviewed a while back. I
mhm.
was like, "Oh, I can order that," and I did. I ordered a couple of
I
oils just to put, like, on a necklace,
in a
nothing fancy. I'm not an aromatherapist,
Right,
so
and in aromatherapy, I think, when you hear the term essential oils or aromatherapy, most people start thinking the multi-level marketing, like those are your only options. And I just wanted to let people know that that's not your only option. You can find someone who's been educated and who uses essential oils that are more affordable than a multi-level marketing, because I think their pricing is just
yeah,
insane.
crazy.
But I
Yeah,
understand it. It's what marketing is part of their name, and marketing costs money. So but I wanted people to hear from other people and what they're doing, because aromatherapy is such a vast field. There's so many different ways you can use it. Like there's people who use it for cosmetics, for skincare. Some people use it for psychological and mental and emotional, and some people use it in massage. And there's so many ways that you can use it. And hearing from different people who have made that particular use of aromatherapy their thing is really cool, because I mean, I learned a lot just talking to the different people that I talked to through the years. But yeah, 4 years of aromatic chat. Pretty cool.
I wanna say too, if somebody hasn't really listened to all of the episodes, I could hear when you were, like, learning that by the questions that you would ask them, be like, "Oh, I never thought about it that way," or whatever, so that was kinda cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
And the thing is, even though we're rebranding and shifting, all of those aromatic chat episodes will still be out there in the pod sphere on YouTube. You can still go back and watch them. It's not like they're going away.
Yeah, yeah.
We're just making something new.
Excellent. Um, do you have a favorite episode
Oh my gosh.
in all those years?
Well, that is such a hard question to answer, because honestly, every single one was my favorite. I know this sounds, whatever, but like every single one was my favorite, and every single one was not my favorite
For different
for
reasons.
different reasons. Some of them, so as a podcaster, a lot of podcasters, they have a team that do all of the things to make it possible.
Yeah.
Right? Some of your big podcasters out there, pick one. They've got somebody that sets up their interviews. They've got somebody that writes their questions. They've got somebody that makes sure their sound is good, their lighting is good. They make sure that the editing is done, the introductions are well done, everything is primed, everything's ready to go. I do all of that. I do have a little bit of help. I have someone who writes the show notes, but that's it. And she uses a template and fills in the blanks. But everything else I do. So some podcasts I love because the editing is so simple. Some podcasts are really difficult because there's good and bad to every single episode. But honestly, I mean, the last episode I did was probably my favorite because that's the one that's in my mind right now. And that was the one with Amy DeLong, who was she teaches animal aromatherapy. I mean, but throughout the years, there's been so many favorites. I could not pinpoint just one. There's no way.
I don't remember the name or what episode it was, but there was a girl that lived in the same town that we lived in New York.
Ginger,
and I really enjoyed your back and forth and, the familiarity. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was Ginger Andro. I do remember that one. And she's just I mean, they're all incredible. I mean, really, pick a name and I'm just going to gush over them because it's amazing. Honestly, if you were to pull up a single episode and say, what about this person? I'd be like, oh my gosh, this person, but
super fun.
Yeah, it is super fun. And I love supporting other people. I love helping people achieve their goals. And Aromatic Chat was one of the ways that I helped people do that. There were several guests who came in who were like, oh, I don't know if you want to interview me. I don't know if I have anything to offer. I'm still a student, or I'm just starting out, or I've been doing it for so long. I don't know what else I could possibly say. I mean, there were several of those people that came in and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Let's share your story. We need to share your story because I think, like I said, our stories matter. No matter what stage of your journey you're in, it's important and it's inspiring. It's inspiring to other people to hear the things you've done or the things you're hoping to do. It's just all, I don't know. They're all incredible. I could just gush for hours. So
that's a good thing though, because you're obviously doing something that is meaningful and that you love.
Yeah, for real.
I noticed that you added a third episode each month called My Take that I actually enjoyed, just listening to your thoughts on those episodes. What was the catalyst for adding that and making that change to your podcast?
So the first 3.5 years, I would share my thoughts at the end of the episode. And that would take like another 2 to 5 minutes at the end of each episode where I would just kind of pick something that was said and share my thoughts about it. And my coach, my business coach, she encouraged me to break it out and make it a standalone episode to share more of me.
Oh.
And that's why I did that. But in doing that, I realized, oh my gosh, I have a lot to say, because these weren't 2-minute episodes. They ended up being 15 to 20 minutes, which is like how long a regular Aromatic Chat episode is. I was like, well, I always thought my sister was the one who could talk a lot, but apparently I can too.
You've always been a talker.
Have I?
You used to talk in your sleep, okay? So
I did. Nobody ever told me that.
Well, remember we shared a room or we had a room adjoining.
I know, but nobody ever told me that I talk in my sleep. I've never been told that, ever.
Wow. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, well, here we go.
Well, but see, so let's talk about that real quick. So as an adult, I've never thought of myself as much of a talker.
Oh.
There's a lot of reasons behind that. And one of the biggest reasons, and I've dealt with this with my coaches, I've worked through this multiple times, and I'm sure it's going to come back and bite me in the butt again later, because every time you level up in life, those limiting beliefs come back and you have to deal with them again. But my biggest limiting belief, the thing that's kind of held me back a lot in my business, in podcasting, is because for the longest time, I didn't think my voice mattered. So why bother talking? Nothing I say matters. So why say anything at all? So I kind of kept my mouth shut for decades. And now here I am, and I'm like, oh, I can talk for 20 minutes. Look at that.
And nobody can stop me because it's my own show.
It's my podcast. Nobody can stop me. Now they could not listen, sure, but they can't stop me from talking. But I find that I have a lot to say, and I think what I have to say is valuable. And it's taken me a long time to get to this place where I've realized that. And that's why I added the My Take episode, because I wanted. Well, actually, my coach, made me do it, but.
I really enjoy your My Take episodes.
Well, thank you.
I think they're really good.
Thank you.
Okay. Who inspires you?
Honestly, it's the clients that I work with. That's one group of people that inspire me. Another group of people that inspire me are my kids. And at this point, being a caretaker for my dad, he's pretty much inspiring me right now, because here he is, almost 80 years old, and making major life changes in, small incremental changes that are really making big changes happen in his life that are good, really good, big changes. So like, my dad's inspiring to me. My kids are very inspiring to me, just how they're living their lives. And my clients, when they have those moments of realization, and then the shift that follows that realization, and watching that happen, is really, really incredible.
I get that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what sparks your imagination and brings joy to your life?
What sparks my imagination? I struggle with that one. I've never really thought of myself as very artistic. Like, I didn't get the artsy gene from our parents.
But you're a dancer. And so you did, in a different way.
But to me, that wasn't art.
Oh.
To me, that was sport. It didn't feel like art to me, because someone told me what to do and I did it. To me, art is thinking up something and making it happen, right? So I've never really thought of myself as artsy, and it's taken me a lot of work and a long time to realize that art and creativity are two different things. So I don't think of myself as artsy, but I do think I'm pretty creative. But what sparks my creativity is other people. Gosh, when someone says something or does something, my mind just starts going like, oh my gosh, look at that. And then I can write a 20-minute episode about it. So that's what kind of sparks my creativity. But what actually sparks my joy, what gives me joy, and I just realized this about myself in the last couple of weeks, is I'm a caretaker. I love taking care of other people. And I've always said I love to support other people. That's kind of how I always viewed it. But I've realized recently it's really about taking care of other people. And that's why I think life coaching is just like the most amazing thing for me, because I'm actually taking care of other people, not physically, but mentally and emotionally. It's really, yeah. So that's what sparks my joy, is taking care of others. Yeah.
And you're good at it. I must say, you're good at it.
Well, thank you.
If you could do one thing different in your podcasting, what would it be, and would you do it?
If I could do one thing different in my podcasting, I would love to have help doing all the things that I said that other podcasters have, because when I think of the big podcasters, right, I think, these are the millionaires that have a podcast, just because it's another way to spread their message. And they have all the help. Yeah, I would love to have assistance in my podcasting. That's the one thing I would do different, is get help.
Well, maybe you will in the future.
And maybe I
You
will in
just
the
never know.
future. Yeah. And I'm not opposed to help.
Where do you see yourself?
Ooh.
And I have 2 parts to this. Next year, this time next year, 12 months, and where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do I see myself in a year? Probably in the same place, doing the same
Mhm.
stuff, really just putting on repeat the things that are working, right? That's business terminology, right? Do the things that are working and put them on repeat. So right now, I'm like learning what's working
Sure.
in business. I kind of know what's working in podcasting. Well, I don't know because we're going from an interview style to a host style. So I don't really know what works yet for the podcast, for the new podcast. I knew what worked for Aromatic Chat. But in a year, I kind of see myself in the same place, just really putting on repeat the things that work, the things that are working. 5 years from now, what I would love to see, just living life here in East Tennessee, enjoying my business, and continuing to podcast. I just think it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
That is
Five,
awesome.
5 years from now, I'd love to still be podcasting. I think it'd be great.
I think you have enough of an because I know you personally, I think you have enough of an interesting background and, enough knowledge of a lot of different things in life that I think you will definitely be able to do that, and people will still be interested. So, my last question regarding your podcasting, and then I have a couple of really quick questions for you, just for fun,
Hmm.
is why did you decide to rebrand? Because it's still your podcast,
Hmm.
and I'm thinking you'll still do some interviews and I mean, I don't know, I'm just guessing, but why the rebrand?
Well, like I said earlier, every year at the end of the year, I always ask myself, do I keep going the way that it is now, or do I shift things? Do I move things? Do I stop?
Mhm.
And I'm a real big believer in Providence. If you've listened to Aromatic Chat for a while, you've probably heard me say it again and again and again, and I'll keep saying it. Everything happens exactly as it is meant to happen when it's meant to happen. And this year, as I got to the end of the year, guests started dwindling. Like I started being like, well, is there anybody else to interview? And again, working with my coach, just realized I'm still doing aromatherapy. I'm still a registered aromatherapist. I use aromatherapy with my clients. I still make blends for people, but it's kind of become a secondary modality for me. It's not my primary thing that I do anymore.
Okay.
The primary thing I do is coach. And I really want to help women who are in this midlife crisis stage that can't keep going like they're going to get excited about life again.
Sure.
And I want to reach as many people, and this is one way that I can share that information. I can share it. It's free to share. I can tell people how to do what I coach my clients to do, and they can put it into practice themselves, or they can, ask for help from me, whichever works for them. But I want to be able to share what I'm doing, my primary modality, which is coaching. So the podcast is shifting away from Aromatic Chat, but it's going to be like my take every episode now.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
That'll be
So,
interesting. I do have a question, because I bought into coaching several years ago, just a healthy way of eating. I
mm,
wasn't selling anything. It was just kind of helping people learn and understand how to make some changes to their diet.
right. Which you
Um,
which you've managed to do beautifully and
Thank you.
sustainably. I know so many people like you and I, we yo-yo dieted our whole lives until you found this way of eating for yourself. And now it's like
Yeah,
become your lifestyle. It's
it
not
has.
a diet, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, and I don't coach people anymore, because for me, it just wasn't, the thing, but like I would sell a package of like, 30 days, $30, something like that. Um, and I would do things like text, email, share some insight during that month, one or two little 5-minute phone calls. How do you spend your time with your clients?
with my clients. So when I work,
Like, is it a month, 6 months, a year?
so there's a,
Is it
there's yeah,
a week?
there's a couple of different ways. Like I have a couple
Okay.
of different packages, like you mentioned. Um, and it just depends on what the person is needing. Like if they need full wraparound support, by wraparound, I mean like you need that big old mama hug for that full wraparound support. Like I have a 4-month program right now
Oh,
that's meeting 3 times a month for an
ah,
hour to an hour and a half, depending. And
wow.
and then once 1 week they have off. I call that an integration week, where they get to put into practice the things they've been learning, maybe take some time for appointments for themselves, where they don't have to show up and be on, right?
Okay.
Because when you're in coaching, it's like your brain is like working really hard, and it's nice to have that week off. But they get an hour a week, and then they have access to me through a platform where they can text me, they can message me, they can send me things, I can send them things, I can post things. It's got their
So
schedule.
you're pretty involved.
It's very involved. It's not like
Okay.
hi, bye. It's 4 months of intense work together
Wow.
with complete access to me. And then I also currently I have a 6-week program, and that's more for somebody that has like, I have one issue that I really want to focus on. I've got this one thing I really want to take care of. And then we focus on that one thing. And it's very similar. They get an hour a week for 3 weeks, 1 week off, and then they've got that access through the platform as well. So it's it's very intimate. It's an intimate process, and it's very personalized. It's a very personalized process. I have my pillars that I work with, that I use to support my
Yeah.
clients, but it's very intimate, very personalized process.
That's great. So people have an option, they can choose, they're not locked into something.
Yeah, typically I'll
That's great.
recommend one or the other. Like if they come to me and say, "This is my issue. This is the thing." I'm like, "Well, that would be let's do the six week program, because it's one thing. And we're going to just
Okay,
focus on
well,
that one thing for 6 weeks." But if it's like a lot of my clients, I'm falling apart and I don't know what to do. I don't even know where to begin. Then that's going to be the longer program. But again, it's
yeah.
very intimate, very personalized. So yeah.
Well, that's great. I hope that asking that question helps people to kind of understand what you do a little bit better.
Well, thank you.
Um, so
Appreciate the question.
I have two just kind of fun personal questions
Okay.
to end our interview
I
time.
am a wide open book. Ask me anything.
Okay, what's your favorite fruit and why?
My favorite fruit?
Food.
Favorite food.
Why would somebody ask for a fruit? No.
No,
Favorite food.
favorite food. My favorite food in the entire world is peanut butter, specifically natural peanut butter. I like Adams brand. Adams, I think, is wonderful, but currently I'm doing the natural Kroger peanut butter because that's what I have available to me. Why? I have no freaking idea. I have no idea why peanut butter is my favorite. I know that there's got to be some genetic code written into our family's DNA, because my dad, my brother, my sister, my aunt, my cousins, we all have to have peanut butter in our lives, or it's not a good day. It's not a good
Guess
day
what?
if there's no peanut butter. I don't know why. I have no clue.
Guess what?
What?
I used to coach people on a way of eating natural foods, and peanut butter is a superfood.
Oh, well, that's why. That's why. Peanut butter is a superfood, and that's why I need it in my life. No, I
Which
just
is
have to have
super.
I just have to have peanut butter. I just, and it's not like it has to be mixed with something or even put on anything. It's just peanut butter.
Just a spoon. Yeah,
And again, I have no idea why. There's got to be something written in our DNA, because it's our whole family.
it is. It is.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy. Now, it
So
didn't pass on to my kids. My kids did not get the gene. I know.
I don't think mine did either.
It's weird. I have no idea. But it's
I don't know.
peanut.
I accept it.
Yeah,
I just
absolutely. Absolutely, it's peanut butter. And no, it does not give me constipation. Like people are like, oh, if you eat peanut butter, you're going to be no, doesn't work that
No,
way for me. Nope.
it's not a problem for me.
Not a problem at
Might
all.
for you, but not for me.
Not a problem at all.
So I have one last question,
Okay,
and I don't want you to think about it. I just want an answer.
I'm ready.
I need at least 5 uses besides the traditional use for a fork.
5 uses. Well, one, you can comb your hair like Ariel, right? Comb your hair. You could pick your nose. Like real carefully.
That would be painful, but you could.
Carefully. You could turn it around and use the other end and clean out your ears. Yeah. Back scratcher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, back scratcher. And then oh my gosh. You can scrape your teeth with it.
There you go.
If you've had a bunch of sugar, it causes that fuzz on your teeth. You scrape your teeth with it.
There you go.
What would
I
you
even thought kitty litter scoop.
Oh, that would take way too long.
But if you needed it,
Yeah, that would take way too long. I could think of some other really gross uses. Well, not
somebody asked me that.
Yours isn't gross, but like,
Yeah. Somebody asked me that in an interview, and I also said, well, I have 2 teenage sons, and I could definitely use it as a torture device for them.
Yep. I like combing the hair though, like Ariel. I wanna be where the people are. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I hope that gives people a chance to get to know you a little bit better and see your silly side. And thank you again for letting me interview you. This was just precious to me as your sister.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it tremendously. I appreciate you. And Dawn is one of the people that I was able to witness transform. And it's been an incredible journey. And we've become friends.
We've been friends our whole lives through birth.
Yeah. But
yeah, I think we had 2 defining moments. One was when you went off and joined the Air Force and came to visit me, or I came to visit you.
Yeah.
And well, so 3. When I became a mom, because you were a mom 20 years before I was.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then this for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yep.
Twinsies, but we're not. 3.5 years to the day.
Yeah. Almost to the hour.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, stick around, guys, because I'm going to be playing the introduction for the new podcast next. Welcome to the Lemon Balm Coaching Podcast. I'm Melissa, and I am so glad you're here. This is your space to breathe, reflect, and start finding the spark of joy you've been missing. Think of me as your coach, your biggest cheerleader, and that mom who always has a warm hug, a listening ear, and maybe even a plate of cookies ready just for you. If you're tuning in, chances are you're feeling a little stuck. Maybe life's become a daily grind and the person you used to be feels like a distant memory. You've spent years, maybe even decades, giving to everyone else, juggling a million responsibilities and wearing all the hats. And now you're asking, what about me? Where do I fit in this picture? Let me tell you, you are not alone. It's not too late. In fact, this can be the beginning of something incredible. This stage of your life isn't about shrinking into the background or settling for less. It's about reclaiming your joy, rediscovering your purpose, and stepping into a life that feels light, exciting, and yours. Here at the Lemon Balm Coaching Podcast, we'll explore simple, practical ways to shift your mindset, nurture your well-being, and dream big again. We'll laugh, we'll learn, we might even sing a little bit, and we'll dig into the beautiful possibilities waiting for you. So grab a cozy blanket, your favorite cup of tea, or heck, even a glass of wine or a dram of scotch, and let's settle in for some real talk. Together, we're going to transform this chapter of your life into one that feels like freedom, joy, and so much more than you ever imagined. Well, friends, this is it. The final episode of Aromatic Chat is in the books. After 4 incredible years of conversations and connections, it's time to say goodbye to this chapter. But before I go, I want to take a moment to thank you. To every listener who has tuned in, every guest who shared their story, and every supporter who believed in this podcast, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your love and encouragement have meant the world to me, and Aromatic Chat wouldn't have been what it was without you. But endings are also beginnings. This is not goodbye. It's a new hello. I'm thrilled to announce that I'll be rebranding this space into something fresh and exciting, the Lemon Balm Coaching Podcast. This new chapter is all about helping women over 40 rediscover joy, purpose, freedom, and excitement in their lives. If you've loved Aromatic Chat, I know you'll find something special in this next adventure. So thank you. Thank you for being here, for growing with me, for learning with me, and for sharing this journey. I hope you'll join me for what's next, because I truly believe the best is yet to come. Until then, take a deep breath, remember how amazing you are, and as always, peace, love, and aromatics.